am going to go ahead and get us started on the board announcements and whatnot. So we'll be ready to roll. And Susan, I don't see Susan here tonight. I think she's traveling. And so I'm going to go ahead and get us started with our mission statement, and then we'll roll through some board announcements. WiVLA's mission is to provide an inspiring forum for women to explore and advance their creative development, to promote their work in the marketplace, and to infuse the community with their spirit of cooperation and invention. And then I'm gonna wait for Melissa to take a big old gulp and then pitch it over to Melissa for membership.
Good. I was just checking to see if I have a big old wad of lettuce in my teeth. I think we're safe. Well, hello everyone, and obviously welcome to the call. I don't know that I see any new members on tonight. I'm checking the list and all the cute little pictures of everybody. So yeah, I don't think we do, but we had quite a few new members sign up in July. We've already got a new sponsor member in August. So yeah, it's been a great, actually great stream of about 4 months of people joining and active. So hopefully we'll get more of them to jump on our monthly calls and participate in this way as well, this virtual way. So Brooke, I don't know that I have anything else at this time. Just hello, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. Next, Susan would be talking about our gallery space at Right Space. And so watch for announcements in the membership newsletter about that. And to follow along for artists who decide to use that wall space, so we can meet up and celebrate their openings and hang out with each other when we do that. And also just another pitch too for literary members. There's opportunities for us to have events that support our writers there as well. So watch out for news about all that. And then I'm going to pitch it over to either Rebecca or Gwen to update us on the literary events.
So yeah, they're all really good, but
oops. Gwen. Okay. So I was just gonna go over book club. It will be August 30th, 3:30 at Coco's Donuts, and we're reading the Amalfi Curse. And Gwen, if I'm forgetting anything.
Yeah, we have our first book club. It's really exciting at Coco's. So just please join us. You can bring friends if you want. But yeah, we're excited. On the website is a list of the monthly, picks that we have for the end of the year. And, you guys are welcome to send suggestions as we build out next year's list. So anyway, hope to see you there. And then for, other literary news, we'll, for the anthology, we'll give that to Denise. So I'm going to mute again.
Yeah, the anthology open call is closed. We had a nice amount of response, particularly in the poetry area. So I hope that Sandy and Celeste are ready to roll. And we earned a decent amount of money too. So I'm really pleased. Going to help us to publish the anthology for the winners, to send copies to them, because we're going to publish out on Amazon. But I've gotten all the entries processed and kind of set up, and I'm going to talk to the judges after this meeting to get their final input on how they'd like to receive them. We've got a rubric for judging that everyone's going to follow so that we can kind of standardize all this. And it's blind. It's completely blind. Everyone that entered got a random number assigned to them by the system. So the judges won't have any idea who's who, and it'll be just pure quality of the entries. So very exciting to move forward. The goal is to have the judging completed by the end of October, if not before, and then move forward with starting to build out the actual physical anthology book. So I was very pleased with what we had. We actually got members and non-members. We had both the literary anthology, literary works pieces submitted, as well as cover art submissions, as well as title submissions. So the title and the cover art will be coming back around later because we want to put those in front of the membership to have them vote to pick the title of the anthology and the cover art. And then we'll get all that coordinated by the end of the year. So look out soon for the voting. I got to get with Melody to figure out how we're going to do it. We got some ideas, but very exciting for our first anthology.
Fantastic.
Mm.
Alyssa, you want to report on programs?
Sure. Per usual, I will direct everyone to our the calendar on the WiVLA website, which is getting updated on the regular as we get things scheduled. So, of note coming up, in addition to Margot's performances, we have an upcoming workshop taught by Denise Bossart, and it is Contemplative Photography 2. And so for those of you that participated either with WiVLA's first round of contemplative photography, I think there's also a couple of people out there that may have done contemplative photography with Denise in other spaces at other times. Now's your opportunity to dive a little deeper. And that'll be on September 13th. Also, as I continue to schedule workshops for the fall, I will, in advance, draw everybody's attention to the fact that we got our holiday party on the calendar for December 7th. And coming up in January, there's also some really exciting workshops and trainings. And so just keep scrolling. There is lots of stuff to be seen. And once again, if you have a good idea for a workshop, if you want to teach a workshop, you know somebody that would, or a member presentation, please don't hesitate to reach out, and thank you. I have texted our speaker and have not heard back, so we stay tuned.
All right. We'll keep doing what we're doing.
I spoke to her on Sunday, and she was very excited about presenting tonight. So I know she intended to be here.
Yeah. All right. Shirley or Deborah, would you like to report from the visual standpoint?
Well, Rise has been a great success. We had a wonderful reception. The show will end on August 30th, and the work will be picked up on August 31st.
All right. So if you haven't seen it yet, get over there.
Right.
Denise, would you like to speak again, but this time regarding the newsletter?
Sorry, I was trying to call Mary. Got her voicemail. Newsletter. So rolling right along. Tomorrow is the deadline. If people have things that they want to share about successes they've had, shows, things that they're teaching, whatever it is that's related to your art, please let me know. Just send it into newsletter@wivla.org, and I will get it and get it in the newsletter. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise. You guys, we just finished our board announcements 10 minutes, 7 minutes early. We're getting so efficient.
Well, I guess we could do the news, the news first instead of last.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at butting in and saying, okay, that's enough, wrap it up if it's time to move on. But yeah, that we could do member news if you anybody on here wants to celebrate something or alert us to something that's coming up. Okay, Lane. You're up.
Well, I have a member ask. I have finished my book. It's revised, edited, re-edited. It is ready, and I'm looking for an agent or a publisher. And if any of you have contacts that might be helpful, I would very much appreciate hearing from you. It's a memoir.
All right.
Hi. Oh,
Carol.
Carol.
Did I tell you guys about my work that was accessioned into a permanent collection? Did I tell that? Well, long story short, I have a garment and two watercolor collage pieces that have been accessioned into the permanent collection of Cooperstown Baseball Hall of Fame Art Gallery.
That is amazing, Carol.
That's
And
wonderful.
yeah, and even if you tell us again next month, I'm gonna go like this again. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great news.
Mildred, were you gonna speak? I noticed you unmuted.
Yeah, just very quickly, many of you know that I have a podcast, My Cotton Patch Moment, and this season I am so ecstatic about the topic. I'm writing a children's book entitled The Hope Club, and it's about the impact of incarceration on families, especially children, when the mother is in prison. And so that is the topic of my podcast this time, and I have some amazing guests. Many of these women have been incarcerated, and they have come out and done, oh my God, things that would just make you want to stop and really appreciate your life. Because but anyway, that my podcast drops every other Wednesday, and tomorrow is my first guest. And this woman was actually one of those people that deliver babies. That's not a doctor. But
Yeah.
anyway, she witnessed a woman in labor.
A midwife?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is she a midwife?
She was. They call him a
Doula.
doula. Yes. But anyway, she witnessed a woman in labor shackled to a bed, and she quit her job and started. She moved to Georgia, and she has passed so many laws, done so many, but I'm just shining a light on a very dark subject of, incarceration in this country, and the impact it has on our children. So, but anyway, if you'll follow me, I would appreciate that. It's My Cotton Patch Moment, Mildred J. Mills.
Awesome. Thanks, Mildred.
Thank you.
Jamie, I see your virtual hand up.
Yeah. So one of my going to be on the cover of the Synchronicity Poetry magazine. There'll be another wood carving and photo in the magazine.
All right, your audio was cutting out, so I'm going to translate for anyone that didn't hear that. Jamie's incredible collage, I might add some adjectives. Her incredible collage is the cover of Synchronicity's new Dreams edition, and she will have another, did you say photograph?
Wood carving, not collage.
What is it?
Wood carving, not collage.
Yeah, wood carving. Sorry, yes. Yeah, it's actually 3D, like. It's beautiful. Anyway, what did you say was also going to be inside a photograph or another image?
Another photograph and another wood carving image.
Okay, awesome. All right. So we'll watch for that. And congratulations, Jamie. I absolutely love the cover. Yes, Celeste.
Following on that, I have 2 photographs in the Dreams issue for Synchronicity in September.
All right.
I just found out yesterday or accepted.
Yay.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Following on that, I have 2 photographs and a poem in the Dreams edition of Synchronicity.
Mercy.
First time for the duo, literary and visual. Woo-hoo.
This is the WiVLA edition.
Yeah. I have my very first poem that doesn't have graphics attached to it. It's not a blackout poem. It's just words. The very first time I've gotten any of those published, it will be in this edition of Synchronicity too.
Ah,
Yay.
Also, Kathy Crawford is reporting in the chat that, yay, everyone. And she's in there too with 2 poems. It's a WiVLA takeover.
yeah.
I'm in there with a poem as well. And then I have a poem that was just accepted to the Texas poetry assignment on my time in Cambodia at the Angkor Wat Temple. So, and that was I just got that a few minutes ago, the acceptance, and it'll be posted. So I'll have it in one of the newsletters. Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Boy, Denise, you're going to have a lot in that newsletter. Lane.
I also I forgot to say earlier.
Email me.
Yeah.
I have reinvigorated my blog, and I've been posting every Monday since July. And I would love if people would take a look at it, and if you enjoy it, follow it. It's just lanedev.com. I'll put it in the chat.
While you're in there in the chat, Lane, read the message from Gwen, because she wrote to you about an agent for memoir, like a place to start looking.
Right. Cool.
All right, Kay. You're muted.
Excuse me, I was muted. I will just repeat what I said at the very beginning of the meeting, that I'm so thankful for the videos of the meeting that get placed on Facebook. I got my cup of tea ready, and I sat down and I watched the July meeting, and it was a great meeting, and it's so wonderful to have that. And there were great questions put forth at that meeting, and so kudos to Melody, who does the videos, and to everybody who participated in that meeting. It was a good meeting.
Thanks, Kay. So there's 3 of us, I think, me, Denise, and Jamie, and maybe Shirley. I can't keep up with Shirley. That we're going to have work at the Maritime Museum. It's like newly reinvigorated, reopening. I guess the ribbon cutting is this Saturday, and the reception is the 8th of September from 5 to 7. I'll go ahead and put it on our calendar. And then we're also going to be at least 3 of us, maybe 3.5 or 4. I don't know about Shirley because I can't keep up with Shirley. She's not in town, but we're going to have work at the Cultural Activity Center in Temple, Texas. Our reception for that is going to be September.
12th of September.
Yeah, oh, see,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then, so Marcia and Deborah and I are at Silver Street, and we're having a big blowout bash on September 11th. That's a Thursday, and it's on the WiVLA calendar. It's free, but you have to RSVP, and I have the link on there. It's going to be like a film noir sort of vibe. We're even going to have black and white Russians as some of the beverages. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an art auction plus all kinds of activations. So check us out and stop on by for a fun evening. That's all I got. Melissa.
I have a hey, go see it announcement.
Okay.
There is a really, really cool show at the Menil Drawing Institute right now. I cannot tell you who the artist is, but it's just amazing wire sculptures, sort of mobile type structures, but then they've drawn on all the wall surfaces. And so the shadows and play through these structures interact with the drawings on the wall. It's really, really cool. So that's Menil Drawing Institute. And then the other is an amazing show at the Houston Asia Society of a Chinese woman who was classically trained in, Indian ink, very detailed brushwork, moved to Chicago, got into abstract art, went back to her ink and brushwork, but now in an abstract way, and they're stunning. So two things to go do this weekend.
Well, I have my brain is like spinning with what do we do? What do we do?
Well, so I just had a thought, and this, if Melissa's down with it or up for it, or anyway, um, one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of people have not been building up their little pages on the member directory, and maybe there's some confusion about that. And do you want to, maybe I could share my screen, Melissa, and we could walk through that so that everyone sees how to do it?
Sure, why not?
Unless someone's got a better idea. Lane, you have a better idea?
I just know, I just looked up, I go to the same church as Mary and her husband, and I just looked up his cell phone number. So let me send him a text and see
Okay.
if I can get in touch with him.
Perfect.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we can do a song and dance here.
I shout out to the part of the mission statement that says celebrating our innovation. It's happening.
Yeah. So let me, I don't know, Melissa, I guess I need to go to mine, right? So,
Yeah.
I'd really like to know more about how we can build out our pages on the directory. So as a plan B.
so I'm sorry, who said that one was? Oh, is that Sandy?
Sandy
Oh,
Stromberg.
Sandy.
Stromberg.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Sandy,
Yeah.
I just find you, because I think yours is, let me see.
I've tried to change photos and stuff, but I haven't been successful.
So
I feel like I look different.
So yeah, so let me share.
Yeah, it'd be really helpful if people did that, because that's where I go to look to get pictures when people tell me they did great things.
Okay, so there, can you see?
Yeah, I see myself. Yeah.
So, and I think Sandy, I actually put this picture here. So because I'm logged on as administrator, I can get into anyone's account right here. So when you log into your account, you can update this little card. And I think if I could just say this, Melissa, the first confusing thing about this is you're building up what they say is your business card. Let me go here. Okay, so like here, so it says business card. And so what happens is people upload an image of their business card. And that's not what this is. What you're building a little business card on the fly, essentially. And so what we want is your smiling face and then a description of what you do. A very short one. You've got 80 characters. So this is like the elevator pitch. It's like, I'm Sandy, I write great poetry. So that's what this is for. Okay. And so what happened with you, Sandy, is I saw that you had entered this picture in your profile gallery, and I took it upon myself in a bold move, and no one ever reprimanded me, to take this picture, and then I also placed it in your business card, because this is so helpful when we especially are working on our collaborations. Especially if you're going to meet somebody you've never met before, it's so handy to have a photograph. Or if you met somebody, you saw their face, but you can't remember the name, you can go through the directory and find them. It's like, oh yeah, that's Sandy. She's the one that writes great poetry. So then you have this big area to write a profile, just a description about yourself. It's like, I'm Sandy, I write great poetry. I've won all kinds of awards. The kind of poetry I write is this. I've been inspired by blah, 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 blah. I mean, this is where you can kind of expand on you, so we can get an idea of more about you. If you know, if you're a visual artist, do you work out of your home? Do you have a studio? Do you have a store? I mean, you know, or an online store or what have you. There's a couple of members that are literary that, let me see, there's a place where, let me see, this is a different view where you can upload photos, and why am I not seeing that here? Oh, and we have also put a note here, and when you won the Echo Award, you can put your links
Yeah.
here. And so I'm sorry, in the profile gallery, this is for visual artists. This is where you can upload all kinds of images of your work. And there's a couple of literary members who have used this space really well. They might have book cover art and so forth, images of them in doing readings, book launches, and things like that. But this is where you have a chance to show your stuff in the profile gallery. And there's one thing that's, I think, real confusing to people is they see these options here. It says do not list in directory. And they're like, I did know somebody that clicked both of these things. Do not list in directory and do not show street address and profile. So if you don't list in the directory, guess what? We never see you ever. So other members will look and you're totally invisible. I kind of wonder why you want to be a member if you're going to be invisible. But so that's what that means. The other thing that I think there's not clarity on is do not show street address and profile. And this is what shows on the web page. But the important thing to know is only people who are logged in, meaning members, only people who are logged in to the website can see that address. If you're just some guy or person and you found the WiVLA website and you click on the directory, they're not going to see your address. So you don't need to do that. The really cool thing about not checking this is there's a view on the website that we can see. And now let me see if I can get
Hey,
to the web.
Melody.
Yes.
So if you go to Abby Kessington,
okay, let me get back.
She's a good example, yeah, from the website.
Wait, from the website or from the administrator part?
From the website.
Okay. Good, because that's an A name.
Yep.
Yeah, she's right there.
Yep. So you go to Abby. And this is a good example of she shows her book and her little write-up. Now, if you go back and pick Beth Cruz Rommel, Rommel, there she is, you'll see how she's used it to show her artwork. And so both of those are good examples.
And they're both new members. You know, that's, you know, so I have a challenge for our longtime members to like look at these new members that are just like going to town. And Beth is a relatively new member within the last 6 months for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And yeah, now I would ask that she substitute this picture with a picture of herself, and she does have one. I mean, there is a picture of her here that she could use instead. But yeah, so there's, because maybe not I know what she looks like, but there's probably not everybody does. But yeah, I love how the new members have been so good about putting their pictures up here. So it makes it so much easier for us to see all of our happy smiling faces. So, okay. Anything else while I'm sharing, Melissa?
I think those are good examples. Hey, Denise, I was thinking I'll put something together. Do y'all think it would be worth just a separate direct email so it's not lost in all the newsletter information? Should we send just a separate email maybe about about this, about the directory and some how-tos and some examples? Kay saying, yeah. I mean, it couldn't hurt.
And you know, I created a video a long time ago about how to do this, and we can attach a link to that. It goes to our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Does it also show, I don't know if this is still an issue, but I've heard like calls for people to put events on the website, or how do you put things on the calendar since we have the time? Maybe would that be another good demo?
Yes. It's so easy. So everybody can put what we call a member event that's open to the public on the calendar. And so let me see, I'm on the member, see which way I'm logged in here. Okay. And so I can go to, well, I want to go to the calendar. I want to go to the calendar and I guess I'm not logged in. I'm sorry. I'm not logged in and I don't know my password. But like, I can show you the same thing over here. Let me go. You can add an event, and when you add an event, you have only really one choice, and that's with the gold here, and where it would be what we call member events open to the public. And so you can choose calendar, and if you're logged in, you notice I was not logged in, so I couldn't do it. So you have to be logged in with your member account, and then you give it a title and the start, you know, and then you pick a date. I'm going to what the date is right now. I'm going to say the 27th, and then a starting time. And it shows how it's going to display it. And you don't need to add the ending time, but I usually do. And then if there's a link to an external page, like a website, because like I set up the event for the party at Silver Street, I had a link to the website that has the invitation. It's nice to have the location. So place your location. Oh, so this might be confusing. The location is not the address. So like here, this is showing some of the things we've selected before. So like Sabine Street Studios, that's where our show is right now. And what it really is 1907 Sabine Street. It's nice that it remembers some stuff. And then it says, oh, it has that map available. So when it displays the event on the calendar, when you're done, it'll have like a Google map that you can use to get directions. And then if you've got an image that you want to include, you can drag it in and it will display there. And then you put the description of the event down here. And then you can also go further. I wasn't ready for this demo. You got any ideas, Melissa? Let's see.
Well, that area down below is just sort of descriptive, right? Or this,
Yeah, it's meant to be the
Yeah.
description of the event. And I've
Yeah.
seen a couple of people who have put the description at the event title space, and then what it does is it just blows out that listing on the calendar where you can't, it's just overwhelming. So just be careful that the title is just real short title, because when that's when people hover over the calendar event and it pops open, you'll get the image that you put in, you'll get the title, and then if you click on it, you can get more description. It's just a little cleaner if you just really saved a description for the big box area.
So yeah, and because the title also becomes the URL. So when you can hover over it on our calendar and it shows the image that you had there. So
yeah, that looks very cool.
Place, yes. And so all the gold ones, these gold ones are the ones that members added, okay? And then the other ones are color coded by the type of event it is. So our exhibitions are blue and so forth. But it's a great way for us to share different things that are going on in our artistic lives. And if you have a problem, and reach out to anyone on the board to help you work through a calendar problem that you have. I mean, it's pretty easy on the administrative side to fix any snag you might have run into.
I love the feature that you can subscribe to it because I've pulled that into my Google and it makes things so much easy. And then if I want something, I just copy it into my personal calendar, like I duplicate it so that it actually blocks that time out.
Good point, teacher. Thank you.
Good point.
You know, I have not done that, so thank you for that. Let me get out of here. So okay.
I can jump in.
Okay.
You know, Alyssa, I don't think you necessarily need to read Mary's bio. It's fantastic. You know, Dr. Mary Fehr. I've known Mary for years. I know a lot of people in the organization know her as well. I've met her through Unity Church and some art activities, and we have really enjoyed doing art together over the years. But she's a fantastic artist, fabric artist, as a quilter, and I think that she's a wonderful presenter, and I'm just excited to have her showcase all the things that quilting has been through the years. This is not just about her work, it's about an education experience for us to understand a little bit more about quilting in the past. And then she's going to show us how technological it is now. It's pretty amazing. And some of her wonderful quilts. So take it away, Mary.
All right. Well, I am happy to be here and excited to share some fun information with you all. I've tried to pull together a lot of different aspects of quilting so you get kind of a holistic view of it. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a little presentation for you. There we go. Let me move my little film strip over to the side. I think I'm just going to minimize it. All right, so oopsie, I have titled my presentation Quilt Art because quilting really is an art form. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that tonight. So a little bit about me first. I am an educator by profession. This is a photo of me in my happy place, my sewing room, having fun, a little glass of wine there. It was a good day. I have been a maker since I was a little bitty kid. I was always cutting things out and gluing or pasting or taping them together to make things. And when people ask me what my favorite childhood toy was, I say a roll of Scotch tape. And it really was. If I could make something, I was happy. I'm a fiber artist, quilter, weaver, knitter. I've done a lot of English smocking in the past when my children were young, sewing since I was about 11 years old. I'm also a mandala artist. I participate in a school with a teacher who is in Scotland called the Mandala Magic School, and we do some really cool things. I'll show you some examples. I'm a soul collage facilitator, and I know that Denise has introduced you all to soul collage before. So in fact, we teach it together sometimes. And of course, I'm a quilter. Okay. So as I was saying, soul collage involves not only creating an image, but it also involves journaling. So it's a combination of writing with image making that I think maybe will resonate with your group. And those of you who've tried it, you know what I'm talking about. The one on the left with the swimmer, I really don't know what that one's about yet. I call it Mythic Swim, but I can't tell you exactly what it means. I just had to make that image. And then, of course, there's the inner artist. And moving from left to right across the bottom, the one with the woman with her eyes closed, that's the dreamer. I have pretty vivid dreams, so that's part of who I am. Far right is the mystic. And then the one at the top is called Pink Flight. It just has something to do with freedom. Well, that worked. Okay, mandala artist. This is some work I've done with my teacher, Julie Gibbons in Scotland. We have live events every 6 weeks, and there's a lot of online content that's just fabulous. So you can see here, this also involves image making and writing. A few more. Thanks, honey. The one at the left was for summer solstice. We usually make art around the equinoxes and solstices. The one on the right, of course, is about water. This was just a lot of kind of stream of consciousness, image making and writing. Here again, just things bubble up and I write them down. And all of these are in a small journal. It's where I do all my work. So it's never displayed or anything like that. And one thing funny about this one, in the white circle, it's upside down, but it says, colors can offend, and these offend me. I just really didn't like these colors once I did it. One more. And then as a quilter, this is one of my quilts. This is now at my daughter's house on her bed. And you'll see more examples of my quilting work as we go along. So I want to cover three things tonight: the history of quilting, today's quilting, and art quilts. So quilting goes back really far, maybe as far as 3400 BCE. The quilt at the right is a remnant of the Tristan quilt made in Sicily about 1360. These remnants are found in museums in Europe. Originally, it was a practical thing. It was worn under armor for warmth and protection, and the European Crusaders wore it. In Russia, there's a very old surviving example of a quilted piece that you see on the right, found in a Mongolian cave. And look at the date on that. And then look at the intricacy of the work. It's just amazing. One of the important cultural movements in quilting is the Quilters of Gee's Bend. And this was a group of African-American women from Alabama, a rural area called Gee's Bend. They started quilting in the 19th century, and it's been passed down through the generations. It's still going today. And you can see that their quilts are really bright, abstract. They use a lot of recycled materials. The geometry is pretty imprecise, but that's a characteristic of them. Sometimes they reflect the stories of the women who make them. These are really pretty well known. They are exhibited in museums all over the country. I had the privilege to see these in a museum about 10 years ago. And here's a group of women who are the Quilters of Gee's Bend today, or at least recently. A few more examples. You just get the flavor of their quilts. They're really kind of wild and interesting. And then there are the Amish quilters. I'm sure you've heard of them. Theirs are much more structured, much more predictable, much more tightly controlled. And I don't know if that reflects their culture, maybe, but they're beautiful. And I had heard for years and years and years that when an Amish person makes a quilt, if they have not made a mistake in it, they will take their scissors and make a snip to make it imperfect, because they don't want to be prideful about creating a perfect quilt. Well, I've been informed recently that that's mere myth. So that's my news for you today. Another Amish quilt, very, very structured geometry, very beautiful. These quilts are thought of as being quintessentially American. And one of the sources that I looked at on this said that they use only the techniques that were common 150 years ago. That means needle and thread, no machine. That may be true. Then we have another movement called barn quilts. This goes back about 300 years. The Europeans brought this concept with them to Pennsylvania, and they were used to identify the owner of a barn or of some land. Always geometric designs. They said that no two are alike. I don't know how true that is, but I guess they tried to be unique if it was their signature. And you could still find these on barns and fences across the country. The photo on the right I took at a retreat house in Galveston that's set up exclusively for quilters to have a retreat. And so there's another barn quilt. And one of the sources I looked at said that these were used during the Revolutionary War to show the forces, American forces, safe places where they could get supplies and rest and maybe get some food. There's a little barn quilt on a fence there. I have a book on making barn quilts, and there are workshops taught pretty frequently where they help you make your own barn quilt. A couple more really pretty ones. I think this would be fun to have on my patio. So another thing I wanted to mention is that quilting has been used as a form of communication, specifically by the Underground Railroad. So this network of people who were trying to help slaves escape used quilt designs to direct the slaves to pathways on the Underground Railroad. The colors, the symbols, and the thread length revealed information about where to go, how to get from one checkpoint to the next, and ultimately arrive in Canada. Now, this quilt on the right that you're seeing is currently on exhibit at the Glassell School of Art, and it was made by a group of quilters here in Houston called the Jubilee Quilt Guild, and one of my friends is a member of that circle. I'm sorry, Jubilee Quilt Circle, not Guild. The show at the Glassell is called Patterns of Liberation, the Quilt Code of the Underground Railroad. And they are having it's open now, but they're having a closing reception on Friday, September 19th. If you want to jot that down from 3 to 5, everyone is invited and it's free. So I think this is a really interesting thing to have on exhibit here in Houston. They have been working on this quilt for, I think, over a year, and they were funded by grant money, and it's just a really it's a really neat group that got permission to use the Glassell School to have their meetings and do their work, and now an exhibition. This is another quilt about the Underground Railroad. This one was made by Barbara Payne in Ohio, and this travels around to schools during Black History Month for teaching purposes. These 18 panels again depict the secret signs that show how and where and when to travel. And these kind of messages were also encoded in spirituals and passed on by conductors of the Underground Railroad. I'd also like to recommend this book, Hidden in Plain View, if you want to know more about quilts and the Underground Railroad. Hidden in Plain View, A Secret Story of Quilts and the Underground Railroad. And then we have Faith Ringgold. She passed away last year. Sorry to lose her. Wonderful, wonderful artist and teacher and author. And she was best known for her painted story quilts. So she really told stories with them. She was also an activist, and her work really was concerned with art, feminism, and the civil rights movement. So there she is working on one. Here are two of her quilts. The left one is the Sunflowers Quilting Bee at Arles, and I can't help wondering if this is a reference to Van Gogh's bedroom at Arles, maybe. And the one on the right is called Tar Beach, and this is the one I'm most familiar with because there's a children's book by the same title with her quilt on the cover, and she's the author of the book and illustrator. And I used this book in my classroom when I was teaching elementary art as a way to introduce the kids not only to quilting, but also storytelling and a cultural body of knowledge. So there's Faith, and the book is pictured on the right. It's about a family that goes up to the rooftop of the apartment building that they live in and have picnics and look at the stars. Look at the URL. So talking about quilting methods, you can make a quilt completely by hand like the Amish women do, or you can make them by machine. And I'll tell you a little bit more about both. The one on the left is actually one that was made by my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, Deb Greenway, entirely pieced. In other words, the little tiny pieces were sewn together with thread and needle by hand. And she did that part, and then she handed it off to a group of women who live at the Roanoke Apostolic Christian Home in Illinois. And they quilted it by hand, thread and needle, the old-fashioned way. The Apostolic Christians are very close in culture to the Amish. So they've kind of adopted that same method, I guess, of doing things by hand. The one at the right is just a portion of a quilt that was sewn together by machine and quilted by machine. And the quilting on there was hand guided by the quilter. She used rulers. This is Pam Baum's work. She used rulers to get the straight lines, and then she did all those swirls by hand. You'll see a picture of the machine in a moment. These are two of my quilts. So I do the quilting part after it's all sewn, all the little pieces are sewn together. That's called piecing. Then you sandwich it together with a fluffy batting in the middle and a piece of fabric on the back called the backing. And you have to sew through all the layers. And on the right, you see my 10-foot long quilting machine. This is today's version of the wooden frame that women would drop down from the ceiling and sit around with their friends and quilt on things. So on the right, the quilting that you see there also is called ruler work. I'm guiding it with my hands, holding some handlebars, one hand on the handlebars and the other hand on a ruler, in this case, a circular ruler that I guided my needle around. On the left, however, in the white portion, that design is guided by the computer that's attached to my long arm. So I have hundreds of digital files that I can call up and tell the machine to go stitch that. It's pretty cool. There's another photo of the machine in what used to be our guest room, and some of my rulers over there on the right that I use to get different shapes. You might notice an iPad sitting at the top of the machine in the little black rectangle. That is what steers the machine when I'm using a digital file, but I don't do that all the time. So quilters make a lot of artistic decisions, just like you all do in any medium. We have to think about color and line, shape, contrast, proportion, space and placement, repetition of motifs and shapes, symmetry, rotation and reflection, and scale. So what you're seeing in this image is a computer monitor showing a piece of software called EQ8, Electronic Quilt 8, where you can start with a grid and go in there and create shapes and designs and blocks and turn them and flip them and make them different colors, recombine them in different ways to explore all the possibilities for a quilt. And then when you're done, you can print out a copy and it will even tell you how much fabric to go buy. So speaking of contrast, sometimes the fabrics we choose may look perfect. They seem to have appropriate contrast between them. But then again, sometimes it's not quite right. So what we do is we choose our fabrics and take a photo of them and put the black and white or grayscale, I'm sorry, grayscale filter on it to see what the contrast looks like from that lens. And you can see on the right that some of those pieces don't have as much contrast as we thought they did. So this is usually done before you even buy the fabric. We just happened to be discussing it in a class one day, and the teacher pulled out this quilt, and I took a picture of it with the filter. Applique is another form, another technique in quilting. These 3 quilts are mine. The one on the left is made of a whole lot of little pieces of colored fabric that are fused onto a background, that white background. I use something that, you know, you layer the fabrics and put the iron on it and it sticks. So that's what I mean by fusing. And the background was quilted by hand, by me. Not by hand, it was by machine, but it's hand-guided machine quilting. The one at the top right is felt applique, and you can see that it's hand-stitched on, a very traditional, old-fashioned technique, but beautiful in its own way. And at the lower right, this is a quilt I'm currently working on. It hasn't been quilted yet. I've just finished fusing all of these circles to that big white background, 249 of them. So now my artistic challenge is to decide how to quilt it. I sometimes incorporate embroidery into my quilts. The one at the left is about 3 feet by 3 feet, not a large quilt. And you see that yellow square at the bottom right? I just put that yellow rectangle there to show you what I have enlarged over on the right-hand side of the screen. So you can see the embroidery there. I've used a variegated thread, which really doesn't show in the left-hand photo at all, but it's pretty cool. More embroidery. This is a quilt I made for my daughter. She lived in the Netherlands for a while, and I wanted to make her a quilt that reflected Delft blue as a design theme. So I found some digital files of Delft type designs and embroidered these white squares and then worked them into the overall quilt. And this was a quilt I entered into a challenge at one of the local quilt shops and actually won first place and got about $1,000 worth of free merchandise as my prize. More embroidery. This quilt has 89 embroidered squares on it. And this is a kind of a combination of applique and embroidery. So you see at the left, there are little pieces of fabric fused onto the background square and then embroidery over it to secure the edges and add some detail. I have a sewing machine that will do the embroidery from digital files. It's amazing. So this quilt I donated to an auction recently. This is a current piece I'm working on that has the same kind of combination of applique and embroidery. This is just the center of the quilt. Sometimes I do quilting and then paint it. So at the left, you can see some machine quilting going on, laying down this mandala design in white thread on black fabric. And then I painted portions of it with mica powder pigments. And it turned out pretty, I think. The right-hand labyrinth, that's also mica powder pigments on black fabric. The one at the left, though, that color I put in with Inktense pencils. And I found that aloe vera gel is an excellent medium for this because the color will not run outside of the lines if you're trying to stay in lines. I tried water first and it ran, so remember aloe vera. Ink tint pencils are permanent, by the way, on fabric. So a few examples of traditional quilts. These two are mine. A lot of little pieces. Some of the squares in the blue one, the bluish one, have over 120 pieces just inside one of those squares. So that was a pretty challenging one to put together. And it's a large one too. But, you know, they're pretty traditional looking. And I happen to like traditional quilts a lot myself. I have a little bit of pioneer woman in me. And I love things that look kind of old fashioned. You saw this one on the left before. The one on the right was exhibited, no, this was not exhibited at the International Quilt Festival. This is just another one that I found quilted by Sue Bell. Very, very traditional and very lovely. Some of you might recognize the quilt on the left. This has been around for about 100 years. It's called the Sunbonnet Sue quilt. And if you look closely, you'll see Sunbonnet Sam as well. These were made around the 1930s. And this one was made by someone in my family. I've had it since I was a little girl, but sadly, I don't know who made it. But I do remember that Sam has pockets on his pants. You might see them. And when I was about 6 years old, I went to bed one night and put a little ring that I'd been wearing in one of those pockets, thinking it would be safe. I never saw that ring again. But that's my memory of Sunbonnet Sue and Sam. On the right, you'll see a reimagined version of Sunbonnet Sue. This was at the International Quilt Festival in 2024, and it's Sunbonnet Sue with different types of clothing, different ethnicities. You might be able to recognize a few of these. I have a close-up on the next screen of just a portion of it. I just thought this was fascinating. It made me want to make one. And now some examples of modern quilts. On the left is a quilt that I made for our son, Austin. He got married last December in Dubai. It was a Hindu wedding. His wife is Hindu. And excuse me. So at one part of the 5-day stream of events, there was a time when his bride was taken aside by her family for a special ceremony called a puja, prayer. And then we were going to take Austin aside to do something special for him. And so we had to create our own ceremony. So what we decided to do was create a wedding quilt for him. And I sent out those squares of solid fabric to all the family members around the country and asked them to write a piece of advice for a happy marriage and mail it back to me. So they did, and I set them into this cool Aboriginal fabric that comes from Australia and made it into a quilt. And it was just, it's just really heartwarming. Even the 3-year-old niece wrote her tip for happy marriage. She said, hug, kiss, and put away your toys. So at this ceremony, we pulled the quilt out and held it up and presented it to him. And I asked him to read them to the crowd. He read 2 of them and started crying, could not go any further. He's so tenderhearted. And so we had to get someone else to read it. The one on the right is a Judy Niemeyer design. She designs these radial type quilts. They're really, really precisely made and a very, very unique technique. But I put this into the category of a modern quilt. 2 more of mine. The one on the left is one I made for my daughter, my other daughter. And the one on the right is made with fabric called ombre. And you can see how it fades from light to dark. And just the way they're arranged, it really gives an interesting effect. More modern quilts. You can see the predictability just kind of going out the window. And that makes them fascinating and fun. The one on the left is a quilt that I made for my son-in-law. He's a reggae musician, and I made him this for his birthday, a Bob Marley quilt. And I'll tell you a secret about it. I accidentally cut the whole thing down about a third of the way over from the right-hand edge. Yes, I accidentally cut it from top to bottom. So I had to come up with a creative solution. So I took scraps and cut little blocks and pieced them together to make that row of blocks running up and down. And I think it added to it. I think it's a nod to traditional quilting. The one on the right reminds me of a kind of a Tiffany lamp. This was also at the International Quilt Festival. And then kind of moving into art quilts. You know, it really becomes anything goes. From this very fluid design on the left, non-representational, to this very tightly controlled, symmetrical, and very densely stitched pattern on the right. Here's another art quilt. This is a small one by Deborah Boschert. She was here recently and gave a presentation at the Quilt Guild that I belong to. And I actually bought this little piece from her. And she has a technique that I found very interesting and I want to try it. She works with photographs that she has taken. And then she looks at the shapes and the colors and the placement in the photograph and sort of reduces it to a minimalist way of presenting it, and cuts out shapes of fabric to sort of reflect what's in the photograph without being literal about it. And then she puts hand stitched embroidery on top. And some of hers are like long, narrow panels. Some are full-size quilts, but they're wall hangings rather than something you would put on a bed. Denise, we need to try this with some of your contemplative photography. More art quilts. This was just amazing. Applique, and the little cherry blossoms actually are three-dimensional. But all of these are little pieces of fabric pieced together. Even the skin on the woman, you can see various pieces of fabric showing different tones in the skin. And the quilting on the right really looks like ripples in the water. This was another fascinating one at the festival. Flora, the goddess of spring. I love this one. And look at how many different directions the quilting goes in. No lack of imagination there. When I saw this one, I could not believe it was fabric. I just was so impressed that this quilter could make something look like glass when it's actually fabric. But, you know, that's the artist's eye. This is a really poignant one. My mother has Alzheimer's, and you can sort of see things losing their color, losing their vibrancy, and transitioning into shades of gray. This was pieced together with tiny little squares. It was by Shelley Schultz and quilted by Natalia Bonner. Natalia Bonner is a really well-known machine quilter who does YouTube videos teaching how to do it. And this was inspired by a tour by Pink, adapted from a t-shirt design. Here's one from Taiwan. This show that happens right here in Houston every fall truly is international. If you haven't been to it before, I really encourage you to go. The exhibit of quilts will amaze you. My husband is an artist, not a quilter, just an artist, and he always wants to go to see the quilts, and he takes almost longer to look at them than I do. I love the earthiness of this one. It looks like mushrooms and rings in a tree. The colors are just, and shapes are just so organic. And my last example of art quilts, another really intricate applique quilt. And my last slide is about wearable quilting. These are shoes that I just made 2 weeks ago. I took a workshop and learned how to use fabric that I had already quilted. You bring it to class and you assemble shoes from it. It was fun, a full day's work, but I'm ready to make another pair. So with that, I'll be happy to try to answer questions if you have any.
Those shoes are amazing. So, so can you wear them anywhere? I mean, are there any special cleaning instructions for them, or?
No, I wore them to church.
Okay, well, of course.
and I was told, oh, can you make those for the auction next year?
Sure. Wow.
No, there's no special instructions. I think you could probably hand wash them for sure. I mean, they're stitched strongly, but I wouldn't want to agitate them in a washer.
I'm taking the quilted sneaker class in November. So I'm planning to make some for Christmas presents.
Who is that? I can't see who's talking.
It's Lane Devereaux.
Oh, Lane, are you really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. You'll have fun.
And remove your spotlight.
There we go. Yeah.
Got those barn quilts. How long do they last? I mean, are they regular quilts that they attach?
No, they're made of wood and outdoor paint.
Okay.
So they use marine grade plywood and then exterior house paint.
Because I've seen designs painted on barns. Maybe that's what I've seen is them attached.
Well, the old ones probably were. These ones that are on a board, like 2 feet by 2 feet, they're a newer version of it.
There are
How many
some
of you-
barn quilts in Fayette County if somebody wants to go look at them. So
good. Nice. That'd be a fun road trip.
it's a lovely road trip.
Okay.
I appreciated the presentation so much. But the Amish, those are called hex signs. They are also called barn quilts, but they also had religious and cultural meanings to the Amish. I grew up just outside of Amish territory in South Central Pennsylvania, and many of those designs have religious meanings.
Oh, how interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes,
Did you call them-
they were, you know, believe it or not, they were very much into witchcraft and what kept you spiritually good or not spiritually good. And
Huh.
that's why they put the symbols on their barn. They were keeping the evil spirits away.
How about that? Wow, that's a great part of the story I didn't know. Did you call them hex signs?
Hex signs, H-E-X.
Uh-huh, like they're warding
Hex
off
signs.
evil spirits or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good to learn that.
Mary, I had the pleasure of attending the Modern Quilt Guild convention this year.
Oh, nice.
My sister is a member of her local guild. She's the quilter in the family, not me, but I am a great admirer. And the quilted sneakers were the hottest thing to be walking around the convention with. Like everybody was showing off their quilted sneakers, and we were all fabulously jealous. So when I go back to that convention next year, I probably won't have my own sneakers, but hopefully I'll be carrying my own handmade tote bag or jacket or, something to fit in.
Right, yeah, I'm probably kind of late to the party with the sneakers. They've been around a while, but it's fun. I'm gonna make some more.
Cool.
All right. Is
That
there
was
any-
a fabulous presentation, Mary. Thank you so much.
You're
I can
welcome.
barely sew on a button, but I have always loved quilt and would recommend that everybody attend the International Quilt Festival. It's just incredible
Yeah.
what you can see there. I wanted to also mention, though, that at the Museum of Fine Arts right now, there's an exhibit of Indian fabrics, textiles, and they have a couple of quilted pieces there as well. And it was interesting, the curator of the exhibit told me that in the Indian tradition, they will include an imperfection in their quilts because they don't want to, piss off God or the Hindu gods. And they had some like really dramatic examples of like a black square on an orange background. I was surprised, and I asked about that, but she told me that that was their tradition in the Indian subcontinent.
Interesting. Yeah, and there's another form that I think comes from some part of Asia called shishiko, probably Japan. Shishiko, and it's like long running stitches, just one row after another of long running stitches. And sometimes you'll see those made into jackets that are really soft and beautiful. And you can probably pick one up at the International Quilt Festival in the exhibit hall, in the vendor hall. Yeah.
Mary, I know you teach classes, and there's classes available if people were interested from beginner to advanced.
Denise, I didn't hear you real well. You were asking about classes?
Yeah, I know that you teach classes, and there's other classes available from beginner to more advanced.
Yes, yeah, most quilt shops teach that. I took my beginner class years ago at Quilters Emporium in Stafford. But all quilt shops have classes. And the interesting thing about quilt shops is that they're hard to find in Houston. You have to go to the outlying areas and surrounding towns. They're all over the place. I drove to Conroe today to visit one. And tomorrow I'm going to Tomball. But yeah, lots of fun classes. I teach classes on making not rag rugs. That would be on a loom. I've done that. But these are called jelly roll rugs. And they're fabric rugs and also a Christmas tree skirt. I've taught those classes. I'm teaching another class at the end of August about making a rope bowl where you literally sew rope around and around and around to make a bowl.
Where are you teaching that one at, Mary?
Quilters Emporium. It's coming up near the end of August. Come join me. It'll be fun. I will show you my samples, but they're out in my car. I already have it packed for the class. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things you can do. So if you haven't tried it, and if you're curious and need pointers on where to go to get started, let me know. I also do long arming as a business. So people will bring me their quilt tops they've pieced, and then the package of batting and a piece of fabric for the back, and I put it all together and do the quilting on my long arm machine. Because that's a part that some people simply do not like to do. Or they don't have the equipment for it.
I will say that's one of my favorite parts of the vendor area of the International Quilt Show is they have all these long arm machines that you can just play with.
Yeah.
And for someone like myself that doesn't plan to ever own one, it is great fun.
It is fun. I could spend days in that vendor hall. I do.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your attention. And another question, Margot?
There was a question in the chat as well. And
Oh.
Margot, I will tag you after I've read it.
Okay.
From Francis.
Let's see. Is this from Francis? Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a quilt. Oh, Hawaiian shirts. What a cool idea. You know, there are Hawaiian quilts. That is a type of quilt. Did you know that? Yeah. They have very, very specific motifs that they use. Okay, I envision a style of square sewn together. I don't know. Showing squares together is a great way to start. You know, it's simple. You get to practice, you know, matching your seams and all that, kind of the basic skills. So I think that'd be fine. And maybe run some fabric in between the squares. You know, it's called sashing, to set them off from each other. That could be good. My quilt guild is also making quilts for premature babies. They're just 2 feet by 2 feet in size, and they're given to hospitals for those little sweet preemies. Oh, look, Alyssa's already found a link to the rope bowl class. Did it show a picture, Alyssa?
Yeah.
It did? Oh, good. I call it confetti rope bowl because we're going to insert little bits of colored fabric here and there to make it look like confetti.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Margot, you had a question?
Yeah, a couple of questions. I hesitate to ask the first one because I can feel everyone going, boo.
Oh, no.
Okay. During Allison, I had some beautiful quilts from my mother that got wet from the flood. And I had heard that the way you wash your quilt is in the bathtub with baby shampoo. So if you get one dirty, like during a flood or something, is there some way to clean them? Is there like an accepted way to clean the quilt without ruining it?
Well, if it's an old quilt, I think that's a good way because it's gentle.
Okay.
But if it's a newer quilt, you can wash them in the washing machine.
Okay.
Particularly if you don't have an agitator in it. But cold water, and you don't want to dry it in the dryer. You don't want
Yeah.
you don't want all that heat because it will shrink the batting and the inside if it's cotton, which makes the whole thing pucker.
Okay.
So I put them in the dryer for just a few minutes at just room temperature air to fluff them a bit, and then I put them outside to finish drying.
Okay.
Some people hang them over a fence. I don't have a fence like that, so I spread them out over my patio table.
My other question was, so for the pieces of quilt where people have written things, do you ever like embroidery over the text, or do you just leave it?
I left it. It's Sharpie marker, and it's gonna stay. But I did embroider 2 squares in the 2 lower corners. Like this is a gift from your family, happy wedding, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, taking their handwriting and trying to embroider over that by machine would be tough.
Oh, I meant by hand.
Oh, by hand? Well, I can't say I don't do it by hand. I did one quilt that way, but I don't typically. I'm a machine girl.
I mean, these quilts were magnificent. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Margot,
you
there is
so
some
much.
quilt. I'm sorry. Margot, there's some quilt soap that you can get that doesn't tear up your fabric as much.
Okay.
And there's a certain chemical, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it eats the fabric a little bit more. That's why you really should find some quilt soap,
Okay.
which is the best.
Good idea. Yeah,
Hopefully we won't have more floods in the house.
I hope not. Yeah. And if any of you are quilters, please consider putting a label on the back of your quilt that shows who made it, the city, and the year, at the very least. So it won't end up like my Sunbonnet Sue quilt, you know, just anonymously made. And you can write them on a piece of fabric with a Sharpie and stitch it on, or you can, I embroider mine because I have the machine to do that. But any kind of label is really nice to include.
And for those that actually are, want to do some sewing, there's a lot of organizations, nonprofits that take quilts as donations to do things with, whether it's giving them to women and women's shelters, the preemies, there's ones that accept for pets in shelters. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually, not collect quilts and give them away to your family. And then what do? There's a lot of organizations that would love to have people doing quilting and donating.
Right. There are quilt guilds all over town, and all of them do charity quilts. It's really nice. They'd also do quilts of valor, which is patriotic quilts that they give to veterans, and they're quite beautiful.
Red Cross is also a good outlet. There's actually a production room at the Dallas Red Cross that creates items for local hospitals.
Nice.
So I don't know if the Houston branches do.
I don't know either. I know someone who worked for the Red Cross for a long time. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of the quilt guilds do that. For example, my guild has a charity bee, and they make, with the guild members helping, they make and give away like 600 quilts a year to all different organizations. And I think most of the big quilt guilds have that charity part of their work.
Yes, they do. And, I know that my guild keeps track of how many we donate because that helps us maintain our nonprofit status. Yeah, but it is one of the things I love about guilds, this community service. And also there's a shop in Victoria that is collecting finished quilts to donate to the people in the Hill Country, Kerr County, that might have lost a lot of things from their home. All right. Well, thank you for being here tonight to look at some.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate it. It's my joy to be here, really.
And welcome to WiVLA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. I guess, am I at the helm? I think I must be at the helm. Thanks so much, Mary. We often at the end share news. We shared it at the beginning. Does anybody have an announcement to make that didn't make one earlier? Let's give one more opportunity.
The quilt show is March 9th through 12th this year. And so I'll put some info on the WiVLA calendar just as a reminder for folks. I'm hoping to go.
Did you say March? Wait.
No, October. Sorry. I may have said March.
I'm just like, or maybe it could be me. I don't know.
Yeah.
October.
And then Celeste, I saw your hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of y'all have taken classes from Kate Weiss-Orcutt. She and Allison James, who is a prolific children's author, recently did a world building week-long writers retreat that I attended in Vermont. It was absolutely life-changing. And they are doing a similar thing in November in Ireland. So if you are at all interested, contact me and I'll share the information with you. I wish.
Actually, Celeste, some of us are going to Ireland.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we are.
I'm going.
Yes,
This is
and
Kathy.
I
I'm going.
think Kathy Crawford and Kelly,
Yes.
two WiVLA members. Yeah. So
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about last year's Irish retreat. So, but they still have slots open. So, you know, jump in if you're inclined.
Amazing. Anything else from anyone else? Shirley, would you like to give us a report? Like, where in the world is Shirley Beyer?
Yeah.
Shirley Beyer is in southern Wyoming, and it is 90 degrees, which makes me very unhappy. I don't know why it's so hot here, but I think it's hot in lots of places right now. Anyway, I've been here since July the 1st. I'm not complaining except for today.
All right. Well, your shirt tells us it's red hot over there.
It is red hot. Yeah.
All right. Any announcements from anyone else? Last chance.
Just giving a reminder for the judges to please stay on. We won't take too much time to run over things. Nobody else has to stay with us. It's, you know, the particulars of the anthology, but you know who you are.
All right, great. I'm so glad you made that announcement.
Yeah, me too. Because I forgot.
You might have gotten shut down.
Exactly.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night. And thanks again, Mary. This was amazing. I learned so much. I know we all did. So thank you so much. Yeah. And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about quilts. My mother was a big quilter. She made quilts for everyone in the family.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was little in elementary school back in Little House on the Prairie days, my grandmother gave me, you know, the 8 square ones to do. And I started and then I stopped and started. Anyway, years later, I took those squares and finished a small quilt that a piece that and my mom got it quilted and it gave it to my sister for her oldest daughter's being born. So they still have the quilt.
That's great.
Actually,
Mother made one out of men's ties.
Whoa.
And she used sort of a aqua taffeta type fabric as a background. I mean, it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother used to make quilts out of the remnants from the dresses she made for my mom, which probably a lot of women did that.
yeah.
Those are
I-
my favorites. My grandmother made quilts, and I still to this day have some. And like they're dresses that I remember that she wore. Like they're so special.
I come from a long line of quilters, great grandmother, grandmother, mother, and I couldn't sew a skirt that would hold together. My mother had to restitch it. But there was one of my mother's great aunts up in the Panhandle, between Lubbock and Amarillo, and every year she would make a new quilt, and she would actually embroider everyone in the family's name into the quilt. So each family had a square, and then it was auctioned off at the reunion every year.
Oh, how great is that?
And my mother won it one year, and she only died 2 years ago, but she still had that quilt with her in the nursing home because it was one of her most important possessions. So